he's on fire life and safety with me. I mean, that guy knows code and standards behind everything. We just had a meeting on fire extinguishers that they're trying to enforce in the RV industry, and he's battling the fire professional with code. Like the guy from NFPA was telling him, this is what this code is, and this is how it's worded, and this is what it means. And we're just like, no, it's not.
We do our videos that, like I said, you know, the calendar.
Okay.
If you would want to put a video on our website, Polarity Trade Association, that would automatically give you accreditation for our training.
How long have you been a trainer?
20 years.
Oh. Yeah.
Just a couple of years.
Because you have to do a good one.
Still practicing. That's why he comes to these.
Like I said, my training that I normally do is not really like this training. I usually don't go by the spreadsheet that tells me what order to go into. We just talk about certain products, and we actually do hands-on testing. And I think hands-on training is a lot easier than trying to talk to someone verbally and try to get them to understand what you're talking about. Like with the red LED, it'd be easier to actually just show you, or the fans themselves. It's easier to be hands-on than it is to be more verbal. So,
Except none of us have hands.
you have to have hands, because how else are you supposed to communicate?
Some of these guys.
We're not allowed to have tools,
Not allowed to have
so.
tools.
No sharp objects.
Do what?
Yeah.
Some of these guys aren't allowed to have tools. Fisher Price.
Some of you have words that you say.
I'll take it, yeah, it's me.
I think we have everyone back. You ready, Todd?
Yes, sir.
Okay, on to the next converter. We're gonna go to our 9800 series. This is gonna be another product that you guys are gonna see a lot. This is one of our most popular products as well. And we have this model in a range from 35 amp DC all the way to 75 amp DC. So again, these aren't 30 or 50 amp service. These are 110 outlet. We do have 220 versions, so if anyone deals with Canada dealers or anything like that, that they may be running the 220, we do have 220 models. For our 35 amp to our 55 amp, they are equipped with the 15 amp power cord. It's 3 foot long, and this gets plugged into the back of our power center. This is our 8930/50. This is just a power panel that has breakers and fuse slots, so there's no converter in here. It's just there to hold your wires, your breakers, and your fuses. And there's an outlet on the back that this deck mount converter plugs into. This panel can be used for 30 or 50 amp service. Just like our other products, it's a 3-stage charger. It's a load-based fan, and then someone brought it up to me earlier, or downstairs, that when I was talking about one of our products, I said it's a 3-speed incremental fan. All of our fans across the board are 3-speed fans, so they have low, medium, high, according to what amperage is being drawn from the converter. So across the board, all of our converters have a load-based 3-speed incremental fan. And with the 9800 series, you got reverse polarity fuses on here as well. On the 9855, you got 2 35 amp fuses right here in the front. Right here. 35 amp fuse is actually a very hard fuse to find. So if anyone ever told you they need new fuses and they can't find 35s, well, they are pretty hard to find in the States. I think this is a China thing. But if you fuse, you want to fuse down, you don't want to fuse up. So you don't want to put 240s in there, you want to go down to 230s. So you want fuses to blow before and not before the wire burns up. So the 35 amp to the 55 amp, they have the 15 amp power cord. We also have a 65 amp and 75 amp DC model output 9800. Those have a 20 amp cord. So 15 amp cord, you have 2 vertical stabs. On the 20 amp, you have vertical and horizontal. One thing you might hear from a dealer is they have an older coach that had a 9865, which now has a 20-amp cord. Before it used to have a 15-amp cord. That changed, I'm not sure how many years ago, but that was a code change through the NEC. So the power cord now has a 20-amp cord on a 65 and 75. So people complain about, they weren't informed that the cord now is going to be a 20 instead of a 15, and they'll just turn that horizontal prong into a vertical prong to make it back to a 15. That's a no-no. In our warranty, that's another no-no. So if we get that in warranty, that's going to be denied because they were tampering with the product. Just like if we see someone sends a product back and they try to like soldering on their own resistor or try to replace a capacitor and has some type of component on there that we don't install, or if they did anything that was messing with the product itself, like turning the plug to a 15-amp cord, it's going to be denied. For the dealers, a lot of times they want to pop these lids off, and we tell them not to. So if it comes in with the lid popped off, we'll deny it because they could have manipulated it to fail. But if they call in and say, hey, we want to see what's going on because we got 3 of these in within this week, we just want to see what's going on with them. If they call and talk to anyone here, say, you know what, go ahead. At least we know about it, so they're not trying to sabotage it and then try to get money back for it. One thing I didn't, yeah.
What's the answer for the person that has that older unit? You're talking with a different cord. Do they have to change the cord too?
They just have to wire in a new outlet with the 20-amp cord. But then when you get into the outlet, you have to make sure your 20-amp receptacle has the proper gauge wiring to it as well. So it's not, sometimes it's not just as simple as wiring a 20-amp receptacle. And at some of these, like Lowe's, I know they have a cheater where it takes a 20-amp and turns it into a 15-amp. It technically works, and if it was me, I would do that. But I don't recommend that to people because that's against code. I'm not sure why they can even sell them, but it'll technically work. I just can't recommend people do that because then that's putting the company at risk for saying, hey, they said I can do this and now my code's burned down, and so on and so forth. Yes. Oh, this can be mounted in any direction, upside down, left, right, sideways, doesn't matter. The fan sucks through the back end of the unit and blows out the front. So as long as these vents aren't covered up by something, this can be mounted pretty much anywhere. And just like our other products, it's over temperature protected, short circuit protected, reverse polarity protected. Like I said, all of our converters are the same. They're just in different housings. They all have a computer board that has this many amperage available to charge the battery. And that's the only reason 3-stage is important. 3-stage means nothing to the RV itself. The 3 stages are there for the battery and the battery alone. So the RV doesn't care how many stages we have. It just needs 12 volts to run the lights and water pump and whatnot.
What's the longevity
On these? Anywhere from 1 hour to 12 years, 15 years. It really depends on how it's used and where it's located at in the country, what it's subjected to. Because like I said, voltage, moisture, heat, the longevity depends on how it's being used. Like we have some people that live in their coaches and they're like 3-pack-a-day smokers, and we'll get these back, and I mean, every component on here has a soot on it that just grabs onto everything, and what that does is it holds more heat in, so it's gonna overheat the components, or it's super dusty, or you get them like from Florida where you can tell there's been water or salt almost in them just from the humidity and stuff there. So it really depends on how it's used.
I mean, is that fair?
The biggest problem is the dealers went out here.
Yeah, I mean, I have people call that say theirs is 12 years old. So I mean, and then I have people that says they went through 3 converters in a week. So it's really about the end user and how they're used, and that's why I recommend surge protectors. And
So it's a common thing, you can go through 3 or 6 years. That's a common.
I wouldn't say it's a common thing, but you have the habitual offenders. But, I mean, it's very common that we get calls and people,
But is it very difficult to pinpoint that particular issue as to why that's happening?
well, our warranty states that they have to send the product in, so anyone that files a warranty claim, it does come here and gets tested. Not only do they plug it in to see if it works and they measure voltage, see if it operates under load, they take the lids off, they look at the components on, their desk as well. They'll look and measure the feds, they'll check the AC fuse inside, they'll look at the capacitors. I mean, you can kind of see what's going on, like that you'll see like residue on some of the boards, maybe from water damage, or it looked like it got just dropped, or, I mean, everything is visually inspected and tested with the fluke meter. We have two options. The first one is they send the product in, we test it, when it's deemed bad, then we'll send them a new one. If it's deemed good, then it goes back on the shelf to go back to the customer. When we go, I think Christy's gonna talk to you guys about warranty. There's another option where if they're in a tight spot, they're leaving in a couple days and they need it quickly, there's a credit card authorization form under the warranty paperwork that they have to fill out. They fill that out and send all the paperwork in that is required. We send one out that same day if they get it in early enough, and if not, it'll go out the next day for sure. But the credit card authorization's there for, we'll send this out and them guaranteeing that they're gonna send us the old one back so we can test it. So they don't technically get charged anything, it's just a guarantee, hey, you're gonna send us back the old one so we can prove that you have a valid warranty. The girls downstairs will get in touch with them and they'll tell them, hey, this is what it's gonna cost you to, pretty much. And there's a testing sheet on that warranty page, and when they send that in, they'll have either myself or my boss, Ted, who's also an engineer, look at the testing sheet. They'll say, hey, measure here, what are you getting? Does it do this? Have you checked these? So there's a sheet they have to go through to like tell them, hey, check this before you send it in, because if you send in a good product that's coming back to you, or if you already got the product, you're gonna get billed for a new one. But that doesn't happen that often, because we try to do the things that,
Pretty simple, plug it in, test it out. Pretty simple stuff.
but you would be amazed how many people plug this in, measure it here, and there's nothing, and they don't check these two fuses. We put two fuses in and ta-da, and there's been some dealers where we've had a whole shipment of these come in and all the fuses were missing out of them. We're like, what? So we put fuses in and every single one of them worked, and then they got mad because we sent them back.
It's because they couldn't find the 35-inch fuses, so they're out of line.
If you can't find it, you just put nothing in it.
They tell you that's what I have.
So how long ago does that
It's like you make signs for you don't
they
have to
send
use
back
it.
to you, to where they get a response
whale eggs.
on whether, yes, it was covered under warranty, no, it wasn't? How long will it sit here on bench?
Right now with how slow it is, it'd probably take a week, if that. We've had busy times where every single rack out there is absolutely full, and I mean, they got a train of them on the freaking ground as well. And we have two guys that test all of those themselves, and I mean, they go through a ton of product, and I mean, you're talking, we get stuff from the OEMs, from all the factories we go to, and all the dealers across the country, so I mean, sometimes it gets overwhelming, but right now, we have one shelf out there that had 3 pieces on, so a lot quicker right now than it will be at certain parts of the year. And that's why, depends on who you're talking to on the phone and how they're treating you, and that's when you bring up the credit card authorization to make sure. I try to talk people through it, and they maybe think that they're dumb. And I'm just telling them I'm trying to save you money and time, because no one wants us to send in a good product and they get charged for a new product that they actually didn't need. So as long as they're willing to listen and make sure they actually have a bad product. Flip to the next page. Some of the problems and solutions for this, we're just gonna go through all of them instead of picking and choosing. So the converter's not charging battery, 12-volt appliances, and again, all of this stuff that I'm talking about is repetitive, but sometimes repetitive will help you not forget it. Again, these 2 fuses here in the front here, reverse polarity fuses, if those are blown, there will be nothing coming out of this converter. It doesn't mean the converter is bad, But without those fuses in place, or without those fuses being good, there's nothing coming out of this converter. So make sure they check the fuses. Just like when I do my training, I tell them, if your remote's not working at home, do you throw the remote away and get a new remote, or do you just check the batteries? So always tell people to check the fuses. Back to the conversation we were having earlier and one downstairs is converters always tripping the GFCI receptacle. And again, it stems from every converter out on the market, the way they operate has the potential to trip the GFCI. The way to limit tripping the GFCI is to have the capacitors inside loaded already. So like this hasn't been plugged into anything, the battery hasn't been connected, so everything in here is just dead and empty. So if you plug this into a GFCI receptacle, it may not trip it, but it has a higher potential to trip it because the way a GFCI is going to trip. When these are loading, you may get that GFCI reading that says, hey, something's not right, and it trips. So a lot of times, when a customer plugs in, the first time it trips the GFCI receptacle, well, that just loaded up some of the capacitor and circuitry inside. If they plug it in again, the chance of that tripping again is a lot less likely. So usually it's just unplug and plug back in type deal, and it won't trip it the second time. Next one is noticeable flicking of interior lights or fan acting erratically, and that goes back to the battery. Dead or weak cells in batteries do create problems with the converter and can actually shorten the lifespan of a converter. So I've talked to people that say they have a 2006 Jayco and they have the original battery still in the coach. The RV industry recommends people replace their RV batteries every 3 years. That seems pretty reasonable to me. At least you want to check it and monitor it. A lot of times on your maintenance batteries, they'll do a load test at some of these places. I don't think a load test is that accurate. If they go to a hardware store or an automotive store and get a hydrometer, I think the hydrometer is going to be the best way they can check a battery to see if it's bad or not. Hydrometer just looks like a turkey baster and has fluid that you suck up out of the battery and has 3 or 4 little balls in it that float, determining the charge of each cell. That's how you're going to tell whether your battery has a good cell or a weak cell or a dead cell. And like I said, a dead cell in a battery can actually make this converter go bad because it's going to overwork it, overrun it, and stress it out. Converter keeps shutting down. Again, this can be mounted any which way you want, as long as these vents aren't covered up. And the deck mount converters, since they're plugged in on the back side of this panel, these are usually in the belly of your RV, sometimes in like a luggage compartment or something. So sometimes you'll see like people pushing their luggage up against it or whatever they have in their belly of the compartment. Could be covering these vents, and if it's running for a little bit and all of a sudden everything goes out, comes back on after it cools down, it's going to tell you something's obstruction of either the fan, or the fans themselves that are helping it cool. Again, number 5 is the fans running consistently with nothing on the converter. Again, goes back to the battery. The battery has a huge part on how these converters operate, and will sometimes give you a false sense that maybe something's wrong with the converter. So the best way to troubleshoot your converter is actually get the battery off the system just by testing the converter on its own. So if you feel like there may be a problem with the converter or the battery, separate the two and test them individually, not together, because they kind of work together. Alright. In the PowerPoint, that would be all we talk about converter-wise on the PowerPoint. On the next page, it says the truth behind common converter misconceptions. And the very first one, again, is batteries are not required for our converters to operate. They're going to operate the same regardless. And like I said, all of our converters operate the same way, the 3 stages, and 3 stages are only there for the batteries. The next one is converters are not built to withstand high voltage situations. So plug into the wrong power source or you get struck by lightning, that converter is most likely gonna be hit first and go out first. Usually the failure operation or chain of operation would be converter is gonna go out first, then your microwave, then your fridge, then your air conditioner. Usually those more expensive products like your air conditioner and fridge have a little bit more tolerance to high voltage. But your microwave and converter are gonna be the first ones to go. And a lot of time I can tell when people are like, yeah, nothing's working on in my coach, my converter's not working, and my microwave's not working. If they tell me their microwave's not working either, I'm just kind of sensing that they probably plugged into something or got hit by something. Next one is converters have no effect on the 110 VAC appliances or outlets. Like that. And at 8955, we have the AC breaker side, so you have your AC breakers in this panel, but the converter's not operating those. The converter's being powered by one of those breakers, so if your outlets are not working, it's not because the converter's not functioning properly. It's gonna be something either with your wiring or something in the outlets themselves. But the converter's just being powered by one of these breakers that goes into the slot, so the converter does not have any effect on any of your 110 appliances. It can't create high voltage situations or anything of the sort. It's just powered by the same breaker that's powering any of your other 110 items in that coach. WFCO converters convert VAC, so your 120 volt to 12 volt VDC, and not vice versa. There are competitors on the market that do both. So ours convert 120 house power to battery power, not battery power to house power. There are some of those competitors out there that do both, and none of our products do the same. We have both products, but not as one unit. Last but not least, we've talked about it a couple times, with any converter, the potential to trip a GFCI does have the possibility of tripping it, and it's all about whether the converter's loaded up or not. So it's a limit how much it trips is load up those capacitors inside. That's it for converters. Just to kind of a roundup is all of our converters are the same. You can look at them as more of a bank than as something they're forcing to the batteries. So our 55 has 55 amps available, our 35 has 35 amps available. They all have red LED blown fuse indicators. They all have 3 speed variable fans that are load based. They're all reverse polarity protected, and they're all UL compliant. You got anything on converters that you want me to talk about before we switch to the inverter?
Let's kind of take a step back on comparison to the OEMs on what are the most common mistakes that OEMs have made on installing our products that we're getting feedback on that we have to help them correct things on.
The thing they get written up mostly every day with is low torque. Low torque is the biggest thing, and what that is going to cause is fires, really. Loose wires start fires. And we have torque specs on all of our products. Like if you took our door assembly off, I wish we would have thought about that, but on the back of every single one of our door assemblies, we do give the OEM a chart that tells them with this gauge wire you need to set your torque for this range on the AC side and the DC side. So we have torque specs for all of our AC connections and all of our DC connections. When my guys go out and do audits, they take a torque wrench and they'll do 1 or 2 units on each line and check all the torques. They'll check all of their wiring. They'll make sure ground is being grounded and their hot's going to a breaker and their neutral's going to a neutral bar. They'll make sure there's not a whole bunch of metal and sawdust debris in there, because a lot of times it looks like they're installing the converters under the sawmill, and they don't blow them out. And again, that's going to build up heat. That's going to create premature failure. So it really it comes back from the dealers and what they're seeing. When we get into some of our other products, the dealer has helped us create some of the products we have now just by complaints from the customer, so it's really important to get feedback from the aftermarket side. But on the OEM side, it's gonna be space issues that creates, heating problems that shuts the converter down, or it's gonna be a torque issue that will get melting or deformation of the plastic due to the heat from the loose wire. But that's really gonna be it, because in our load audits, we also do amp draws, and we make sure they're in the right size converter, and that they're not in a converter too small or too big. So we go around in every single factory. We do that about quarterly. So every month, they go to every single factory here, and I think it's like 150 something plants just in our area within a drive time. And they do install audits, which is just the torques, spacing, wiring, all that stuff. Quarterly, we'll go through and actually do load audits, which will run every single thing you can on the DC system to see if they're properly sized in their converter so they're not overloading it, because an overloaded converter will stress it out and shorten the lifespan as well. So we try to limit how much failure happens due to over or undersizing and improper installation. What else you got, Mr. Vice?
You're gonna go with the MBAs and the REPs and that. Why don't you touch base just on, I mean, what those are, and then we can go into other greater details with them later on. But let's go over the MBA a little bit more, and then the REP.
Yeah, we're gonna go over the product catalog
Yeah.
after lunch, but yeah, we can still touch, well, we can talk about everything multiple times if we need to.
I mean, so we're here, we got some time to
Yeah.
kill, so let's get into it.
Well, I just wanted to interrupt Todd.
You don't make
No, I like you, I just
Oh.
wanted to interrupt you.
them.
No, I do have a question now.
Sure.
On the, as far as them being underperforming converters based off the amount of amps that they're required to use, and then the reverse side of that, having one that has too many amps, or is too big, what is the ramifications? I can understand that if you're too small, that's gonna wear that thing out pretty quick. I guess my question is, you didn't say anything, I don't think, on what happens or occurs when we've got a 65 amp and we really needed, we didn't need it, we didn't need 65 amps, but that's what we can. Does that cause a premature failure as well?
No,
And why?
you're correct. When it's too small, it's gonna stress the converter out, so, I mean, if it's running at 100% its whole lifespan, it's probably not gonna last as long as something that's kinda used within reason. But when you have a converter that's too large, it's not gonna hurt anything, but the customer's not gonna gain anything. So it's really just looking out for your customers and not trying to stick it to the man, if that makes sense. Like, they don't need to pay for something that they're not gonna have the use of, but it's not gonna hurt anything either. So only time it makes sense to put them in something that's too large is if they're on the road and this is the only thing this dealer has in the building. They can put it in, it's not gonna hurt anything, but it's gonna cost a lot more money, and they're not gonna gain anything out of it. We oversize when we sell to the OEMs already. So like on our 8955, when we do load audits, their total loads in that coach on the 12 side may only be 35 amps. So, I mean, they still have another 20 amps available, but that's for the battery. Some of the OEMs size them even higher because they may plan on putting 2 batteries in. The more headroom you have gives you more options of adding 12-volt appliances. Like now they have 12-volt reefers. They're coming out with some new 12-volt stuff, but solar's getting big, so people are putting in bigger battery banks. So the more headroom you have gives you the ability to charge more batteries quicker. So a lot of times in toy haulers, they want to be off-grid, and they have a generator to charge their batteries by powering the system to use the converter to charge their batteries. The more headroom you have means more can go to the batteries if they're asking for it. So if they're still using, like I said, the RV comes first. So if they're using 20 amps in the coach and they have a 55 amp converter, you limited yourself to 35 amps available only for those batteries, because whatever's used in the RV is going to come before that battery. So the battery gets the leftovers. So the more headroom gives you more space for more batteries. So it's not going to hurt anything, but it's not going to gain anything unless they plan on doing something either.
But that's the thing, I mean, going with a bigger going to a 55 amp, and that's what a lot of people are doing now. They're going up instead of going just a 35, replacing back what's in there. They're going to a bigger converter, allowing them to go to add an electric awning, which I know those are more common with a lot of the units out there now, but it gives them more draw that's available for the future if they ever do want to upgrade with something inside the RV, whether it be an awning, a slide out, or more appliances on the inside.
Do aftermarket dealers know that?
Probably
Don't know
not.
anything. Yeah, the dealers don't know anything.
Well, that's a good conversation to have.
It is, and I mean, and one thing we talked about multiple times that are repeated many times is our fan. That's the biggest thing we get calls about. My fan is running all the time. We gotta explain, the dealer doesn't understand their own products that they're selling like that. If I
So
go-
the recommendation at that point would be to go to a bigger converter, put bump your amps up, 30, 55 to 65. That would take that fan in theory and make it run at the lower stages and not run at the high stage all the time.
You wouldn't wanna change the converter just cause your fan runs. You just
Well,
want them to be
but if it's
knowledgeable why the
maximum-
fan's running.
Yeah, but if that's the case, that's an opportunity. If it's running all the time, you said yourself, if it's running on high all the time, it's not gonna last very long.
Well, the fan will, I mean the converter itself.
Yeah, but if the fan's running on high,
The fan's a brushless motor, I think it's gonna outlive me.
well, yeah,
Could
but
be
wouldn't
heat.
that increase the heat at the converter and cause a premature failure? Yes or no?
There would be more heat, with more amperage being drawn, more heat does build up, so.
So if a customer came into the dealer and he simply said, hey, my fan's running on high all the time, I think my converter's bad, should the dealer replace that converter with the exact same thing, or should they bump up the amps on it?
I would find out why the fan's running.
It's not because of the load.
No, it would be because of the load, but what is, that could indicate maybe your battery's a piece of shit, like, you know what I mean?
Okay.
I wanna replace the converter, I would find out why it's running, because it's running for a reason, and it's not because it's hot, it's running because there's a load. What's the
Yeah.
load making that happen, and limit that load. If you don't wanna hear that fan on high all the time, maybe stop doing like my girlfriend does and keeping every freaking light on the house on, like maybe turn some lights off, like to save some energy. Or check your battery, and that's when it gets into the hydrometer and checking the cells themselves. And they're gonna come back, my battery's brand new, and that's when you're gonna get into, well, it's new to you, but that battery was actually produced in 2017, and it's been sitting on the floor for the past couple of years, so. I would find out what is making the fan run, which is gonna be a load, but what has such a load that's making that fan run on high for that long? I wanna replace it,
Right.
personally.
But Andy, you're correct. It is an opportunity to upgrade.
Yeah, we're just looking for reasons to sell stuff.
Yes.
You can get them another converter, but just because you go to a higher converter or a more amperage converter, that threshold doesn't jump up significantly. Like that threshold where the fan starts and goes into high, maybe only 2 or 3 amps. So I mean, you're not gonna have a significant jump into, oh, this fan won't come on until this. They are both gonna come on at a relatively low amperage draw. And just because you go 20 amps higher on a converter, it maybe is gonna be a 4 amp difference in between where that fan starts, which is not much. If you have incandescent bulbs in there, that's 2 lights. I mean, a water pump roughly runs about 6 amps, so I mean, you turn your water pump on, you're not gonna know you just went 20 amps up on the converter. And that's why I would find out what the problem is stemming from, or why it's doing it. But I mean, you can always sell them a new one, but like, man, that thing's running way too long, you probably need a new one, it's probably about tired, so. I don't
So
really,
you would recommend going with the exact same replacement that was in the coach?
I would, unless you got information from them that they wanna do more dry camping, so they're gonna add more batteries, or they're gonna add bigger batteries, cause the way things are designed now, they're designed with like group 24 batteries, so maybe they wanna go to group 27, or group 31, or they wanna go to a bank of golf cart 6 volt batteries, which have a lot more amperage storage than your group 24 battery. Or now we got lithium, so I mean, there's a lot of things out there that can give you valid reasons to give them a bigger converter. Just depends on what they plan on doing. Sure.
Is there average per coach, the average amp draw that a coach would have when it leaves the factory? Do we know that, or, I know that's gonna be model specific? I mean, like if, a 3791, Montana rolls off the lot, do we know how much the average amp draw that coach, if everything was turned on, what is drawing?
I personally know, and I mean,
But you said you do odds, so
Yes.
somebody would tell us, they're tested.
yeah, I mean, there's not an average because, I mean, that same factory might be popping out 18 footers and 3 units down, they might be having a 37 footer in line. So I mean, there's a lot of different numbers, but if anyone was interested, I have that information. I'm not sure what good it's gonna do, but that's something we get the information to, and then we recommend to the purchasing agents or the engineers, say, hey, on your 37-foot Montana, you're pulling 44 amps, we recommend that you go to a 9865 to give you a little bit more headroom. So we try to size it to what the loads are, so.
I'm just thinking of it from, if we knew that in a way, we could maybe target those dealers with some of the stuff that we would try to get to add on to the coach and make sure that it was either still covered or say, hey, if we add this, this, and this, we need to think about the amp draw and pop them to the next unit up or whatever. That's all.
Your safest bet is carry 55s. So your 9855, your 8955, I'd say 80% of your coaches out there have a 55 amp converter. So I mean, you can't go wrong with a 55 amp converter. I would probably keep the less of the 45s, 35s, like maybe try pushing a little bit of those, but those are gonna be in pop-ups that are barely made anymore, and those are gonna be in little 16 footers. So stuff that you're not gonna see too often, so 55 and above is really gonna be your bread and butter.
Is there even that big a price difference to the OE or the dealer between a 35 and a 55? I mean, is it
Oh, yeah.
like the product lineup?
I'm not really privy to pricing. I know, I mean, I could get it if I wanted it, but pricing really, I'm not versed on, but
What, you know, at a retail level for the customer to come in and say, I want to go from a 35 to 55 because I want to add whatever they want, is it a?
it's not huge. Like if you went on Amazon, our 9855, which is our deck mount, which is one of our biggest sellers, something that you guys are gonna see a lot. I mean, these are probably like 140, 150, 160 bucks on Amazon. What the dealer is charging, I have no clue. What your pricing is gonna be on the aftermarket side, I have no clue.
Okay.
But they're reasonably cost effective, and a 35 and 45 I don't believe are much cheaper. I know they're cheaper, but not something where I'm like, oh yeah, I'm definitely sticking
Right,
with this.
right.
Like it might make sense.
I think that's what we're looking to do, to upsell them to a 55, and it's only a couple $100, maybe it's an easy.
The 9865 on Amazon is 202,
Oh, okay.
so
That's $4.99 at the dealer. Well, if it's NTP, it's $1,000.
Right.
But yeah, your safest bet is to stick in the 55 amp range, because that's what everyone sticks with, whether they're close to 55 amps or 55 amps is more than they need. Everyone kind of stays in that range. That's 55 and above is what is gonna sell.
Wasn't that 75% of
Let's
your
flip it.
sales
Is there
anyways?
anything that they can add to the coach that will
80.
flip them out
Yeah,
of
55?
Yeah,
of
that's the bulk of it, or?
Well, it's one of our top
unit
units on
that
that.
came, if it was
So
installed
Ken,
with a 55?
so just so you have an idea, so
What is
for
it that
the
would
9855,
Uh-huh.
big mount that he was
Too much
going over,
amperage draw
distributor
to
cost
just kick them to a
is
65.
112.
Again,
Oh,
that'd be,
shit, that's pretty, okay.
So dealer
most common things gonna be
168,
batteries.
retail
People are getting
would
into
be
solar panels, so when you get solar
Okay,
panels.
so we're not
people
talking
are
thousands of dollars to
adding
upgrade them, man.
We,
So
unless you go to a.
the more batteries you have,
Right.
you can go up and it's gonna
You're gonna be
benefit
probably
you.
less than 300.
But
Yeah.
as far as other 12
Kind of
volt
no-brainer,
appliances,
right?
That's a 50.
they have a 12-foot
Right.
motor out
But
now.
you're not talking about
That's
all
the going
No,
to, but it's on
easy
the
upgrade,
premium
easy
level.
upgrade.
They're really doing that
220.
in dealers where they're switching out some of the reefers and putting it into a 12 volt. But that is another 12 volt load that is pretty significant. There's not a whole lot unless they upgrade their stereo system, or there's not too many 12 volt loads that is not gonna be installed at the OEM. So batteries are gonna be your main pusher of a larger converter. and that's your most common.
And you wanna talk about the 100 amp converter real quick, just touch base on it since, you have one up there?
Yeah.
Okay.
Um,
I mean,
we
because
don't-
we've kind of covered the other bases of everything lower, but that's kind of a unique product.
You need 100 amp.
One thing I was taught when I was growing up is not to pick it up like this. Don't pick it up by your power cord. But I'll do it. This is our 68100. This is a deck mount converter just like the 9800 that I showed you, but this is a 100 amp converter. So our 68100 seems for a 100 amp DC output. I don't believe there's too many people using this anymore because it's extremely expensive and it's a space issue for some people. But this will come in handy for your people that want to do off-grid. I believe there's still a Keystone using this and maybe a Forest River as well, but not many OEMs are installing these anymore because of the cost. But this does have some good features on it that our other converters don't. First thing is you have your 28 cord on this. It's above 55 amps. Anything above 55 amps requires a 20 amp receptacle. And on the 68100, you got 3 little LED light indicators. I'm not sure if you guys can see back there, but you got 3 lights right here. You got a red, that means bad, something's wrong. Yellow means you're on a battery only, like if you're not plugged into shore power, if you're just on a battery, it's gonna be flashing at you. Then you got a green light, that means you're getting 110 power into this unit, and it should be putting out 12 volt out the backside to your batteries, should be. Right next to your battery terminals on the backside, you got your reverse polarity fuses, just like everything else in our converter lineup, reverse polarity fuses to protect it. On the front side, next to these LEDs, there's a little rectangle button that you guys can't see. If you were to sit there and hold that, you can actually force this one to go into bulk mode. So bulk mode is your third stage, which has the higher voltage to charge the batteries quicker. So at 14.4 volts, you can force this to go into bulk mode sooner than it normally would. So that's gonna make sense for someone that is dry camping and they have a generator. They don't wanna run their generator for 12 hours. They wanna shorten how long they run their generator. So to get a faster charge on the battery, you increase the voltage and they would be able to charge those batteries a little bit quicker. Like I said, this one has 100 amps available to charge those batteries, so this could supply enough amperage to quite a few batteries. People are gonna get into how long will it take and how many batteries. There's not a set number, but everything's a variable. It depends on the batteries themselves, the connections to the batteries. There's so many scientific things that go into it, like humidity and heat and bad connections, good connections, all that good stuff.
Why would somebody want a 100 amp converter?
More batteries. That's the only reason this is gonna be good. This is older. So this is back when incandescent bulbs were a thing. So RVs had a lot more load. So when you had a 40-foot fifth wheel, if you had all your lights on, just light load alone, you might have had 50 or 60 amps going on in that coach. The same coach today maybe has 18 amps worth of lights all together in that whole coach. So this was designed back when the loads were a lot heavier than they are today. So the only reason this is gonna benefit somebody is the extension of their battery bank, more batteries. So now with solar getting a lot more popular, people are increasing their battery bank to stay off grid more. This will help charge those batteries up a lot quicker than a 55 amp converter, because it's probably gonna be maxed out for the whole time that they're charging. This is gonna give you a little more room, and this is also gonna be able to force it into bulk mode, unlike any of our other converters.
So that would have a little bit like more of an industrial application possibly?
Possibly. There are people that buy them. I mean, we sold them at shows this past season. I mean, occasionally, they're very few and far between. But it's just good to know that they're available and the need is there.
I mean, it's a good converter, it's not practical on the OEM side anymore. And that's who I work with, is the OEM side. So when I look at the 68100, I'm like, stay away from that. But on the aftermarket side, that's where you got people installing batteries. That's where you have people making an off-grid cabin or something like that, because this doesn't just have to go into an RV. This can go into their ice shanty, it can go into a cabin that they want to do off-grid, that they only have a limited amount of runtime on their generator to charge these batteries up. That's going to be more efficient and effective of charging a huge group of batteries than your 9855. So it's going to be kind of a limited buyers out there. What you got, Todd?
Let's talk about the REP real quick, just to touch base on that. I mean, explain to them what the REP is, what it's, the REP, I mean, and again, this is, I'm gonna go into a little more detail with this tomorrow. It's gonna be a part of our POP offering that we have. But the REP is a replacement, basically MBA for competitive products that you can take and put into Parallax and Magnatech old products. And so I'll let him go into more details with it. But
Yeah, if you guys go back into your little brochure, not the PowerPoint, but the little booklet, page 43 is having our crossover sheet. If you look at Parallax and Magnatech, I believe down at the bottom of the page, you'll see 8945 REP, 8955 REP. Am I correct, or am I making that up?
Yep.
Okay. This is what our 8955 REP is. If you look at it, it's actually a 9855 deck mount converter. So it's just a regular deck mount converter. All it is has this nice little metal frame around it, and this frame is built to the sizing specifications for the Magnatech and Parallax replacement. Those used to be the heavy hitters back in the day. So there are a lot of those out there, and they're coming into dealers now because they're 10, 11 years old, and they need a new converter. So instead of spending hundreds and hundreds of dollars of replacing the whole AC and DC wiring system, this makes it a very easy replacement. So instead of replacing everything, you got 3 AC wires. So has a cord, like I said, it's a deck mount converter in a metal frame. We make it easy that it's pre-wired for them, and you got your AC lines and your 2 DC lines that will go to your fuse board. It comes with the fuse board because some of those old fuse boards won't work with the new converters, so we provide a fuse board with the REP. And again, this just slides in the lower half, so they don't have to replace the whole case. Because those Parallax and Magnatechs that we're talking about, they kind of are similar to our 8955. They're a little bit larger and they're a metal case. So it's kind of like that, and just like our main board replaces the converter portion of our 8955. This is going to replace the lower half in those other units that will save the dealers and techs a lot of time and the customer a lot of money. So I mean, this is very useful, and that's what that crossover sheet is very useful for.
So does that mean the competitors can fit into ours as well?
Nope.
Just ours to theirs, but not theirs to ours?
Yep.
Cool.
yeah, the REP is one of the biggest upsellable items that I think that we have. And it's because a lot of dealers don't realize that product even exists from us.
Right.
Since show season, since September when I came on board, that is a product that I promoted to people, and they're like, well, we didn't even know you had that.
Was that new?
No.
Nope. That's one of our older products.
Really?
So that is, I mean, Rex and Sons, they didn't know we even had that. And at the show, got them to bring on several of those to bring them into the store to start replacing some of the competitive products.
So how much are we saving the dealer by just having them replace that? It's gotta be a nice cost of labor.
You know what, I'm not, Derek might be able to answer that more as far as time consuming, as far as having to replace that whole unit versus just replacing that REP.
It's gotta be a big
Well,
difference.
dealers are crooked for one.
Not ours. In Colorado, we're good.
I don't speak for everyone, but I hear a lot of things, and it just kind of pisses me off because I do try to look out for people's best interests. I don't want people to waste money because I think about myself and how hard I work for the things I have.
Right.
I'm like, I'm not trying to, if you're just a total douchebag and you make a ton of money, like, I don't care, like, yeah, rip this dude off. But, no, for the average person out there, a lot of dealers charge like $120 an hour if I was to replace this MBA into our 8955, it'd take me a minute and a half at most, as I sip my coffee. A dealer's probably gonna charge an hour and a half for this, and they charge $120 an hour.
That's cheap.
It's cheap.
Yeah.
We're 170.
Exactly. This literally takes a minute. Like, I could show you guys one time, and you could probably replace this in a minute and a half as well. There's nothing to it.
How long would it take DRG guy to do it?
Bob,
We don't have tools.
What kind of data was
The REP is the same way. It's technically the same thing as the MBA. It's 5 wires, 3 AC wires,
You had tools.
2 DC wires.
it's such a plug and play replacement.
It is.
Got product liability.
So I mean, that might take a little bit longer because you have a couple screw holes that you have to screw into the metal.
Right.
And you have to replace the fuse board, so you do have to rewire your 12-volt fuse board.
Right.
So that's gonna take a little bit of time, but realistically, should be an hour.
The fuse board
or
in
half an
that,
hour.
or where's the fuse board located? Is it in the?
No, this is
sidewall?
separate.
Okay.
So hopefully I'll knock that over and kill somebody,
Todd, go downstairs.
but like I said, that
We're all not gonna
REP,
be covered on the warranty.
the parallax and magnetech that the REP fits into is just like this PEC, just older and bigger. So it has the DC board in it, your AC breakers, and the REP goes into the bottom end. This goes into the bottom end here, so this fuse board would go
Gotcha.
where that is.
So that front piece comes off to get to that board? I mean, how does the guy get to that board?
Yeah,
Okay, those
there's 2
screws underneath?
screws right
I
here,
thought so.
and then just little L hooks on the bottom that hold in the bottom.
Just a face.
Rotate up and then you screw it in.
Okay.
See?
I knew he was gonna say something. John was like, wait.
Anybody else have any questions on the REP? That is a good unit, just because it's our 9800 and the 9800 does have upgrades, so just because it's an old product, the 9800 has been revised and upgraded through the years. The thing that makes the REP is the frame, so it's just a deck mount converter inside of a frame, so the frame fits these older units, but the 9800 is not technically old, it's been revised and updated many times. Anybody else? Let me see if I run on to.
in the office?
Well, if you think it's
Tools at home, but Robin's the only one that knows how to use it. I saw this girl on it.
She does the hanging pictures.
Yeah. She changed the door.
It just shows you're a good trainer.
He's a good beer assistant.
First of all, it's not true. It's spoiled since day one.
Yeah, that's true.
Like 45 reasons.
I'm asking you.
No, I mean, is that,
I know, I'm waiting, I know where we keep setting it up.
no.
Right here.
This is trying to get things to.
Yeah. That's pretty decent on that little.
I'm waiting for it.
89, 45 REP, I just know and only doesn't take the camera. So you got a 45 inch from that one.
I know. That's why I played.
They didn't come from any cancer issues or anything like this, came from animal issues.
I don't think I've seen like
Shit. I hope they're gonna get me a new one.
You know, Friday, before you fly out, he's going to his house.
I don't even
It's
do
got a big cell on it.
Replaces the converter portion of some of the older models,
Needs to be,
which would be Magnatech
that's,
and Parallax as well.
it's a stereotypical.
Yep,
It replaces all.
replaces those two, and those used to be
Temperature
the
control.
big
I
guns.
see they did it at breakfast.
And so you have a lot
Watching
of
movies
coaches
and
still out there.
Suppository? Yes, probably coming through your
You got it from Bill Cosby.
Oh, no, it's-
Should've wore open toed shoes.
You don't need them anymore.
Probably Progressive Dynamics.
Wish I got that
These guys, right?
far.
That's about it. And then when you get in like the diesel pushers, like the Class A's and stuff, they're more into the inverter charger combo, so they're not really running a converter or an inverter, they're running an inverter charger combo, like a 4,000 watt inverter charger. You're talking a lot of money. They're not messing with anything that we're talking about.
You didn't get that chance.
Yes, sir.
Dude, I will stop.
You know you're.
Yeah, before we switch into inverters, we can talk about, because everyone's going to inverters, but there's a few things like you talked about. So we can talk about some of the differences between our converters and some of our competitors' converters. Like I said, our converters, our fans are load based. You get into Progressive, they're heat based. Progressive also, they use this as a sales point, which it's kind of valid. They have what they call a charge wizard. For Progressive Dynamics, they have what they call charge wizard. Ours is a three-stage converter across the board. Progressive has 4-stage charge converters. So this magical 4th stage is called desulfation mode. And that's where they have this charge wizard where they can force all of their converters into bulk mode by the push of a button. Sounds great? Not really though. And I'll explain why. Like, we do have that option on one of our converters, but this is on the face of our converter, 68100 with that red face. I'll pull it up so you can see. The 68100, the only option that we have, this button right here, you can force it into bulk mode. But for a person to force that into bulk mode, they'd have to climb into the belly of the coach and push that button to get it into bulk mode, or wherever it's located, wherever the OEM installed it. So it's not a super convenient thing, even though they can do it and it will charge the batteries quicker. Progressive gives their customers what they call the charge wizard, their 4th stage. It has a remote, probably right next to their entry door or something. So they can push that button wherever, whenever they want and however many times they want. And just like me, I'm kind of simple-minded and I like pushing buttons. And they can force that converter into bulk mode whether the battery needs it or not, and they can push it all the time, because what Progressive does is when the converter's in a normal operating mode, this little LED on that remote flashes at you, kind of like this. When you hit that button and force it into bulk mode, that light goes solid. Solid looks like it's working properly to me. If it's flashing at me, it's kind of telling me, hey, something's wrong. So they're not informing their customers, their dealers. No one knows what it means, so these people are pushing buttons. So when you're forcing something into bulk mode consistently, you're gonna boil batteries. You're gonna ruin batteries, you're gonna cost money. And the dealers are gonna try to charge that to the battery company, and the battery company's gonna say, you guys keep boiling these batteries, and there's gonna be an altercation about boiling batteries. That's why we stick to our 3 stages. Progressive with their 4th stage, like I said, is desulfation mode. So batteries over time sulfate up on the plates to, how do I word this properly? Progressive is not a true desulfation 4th stage converter, because to properly do that, you'd have to have these sensors that are going into the battery that measure all these components in the battery, like water levels, temperature. There's so many things that actually scientifically make you actually desulfate a battery properly through voltage. Like, you can burn off that sulfate with high voltage, but our customers, what I tell them to make your 4th stage, if it's a stationary camper, so you camp all year round and it just sits there, once a month or so, go out there, give your battery a shake. Shake that battery up. You don't have to do it for an hour. You're not like a paint mixer, but if you go out there and splash that battery acid on those plates, you are therefore desulfating your battery. So that battery acid is actually going to eat away the sulfate on those plates. You technically just use your own fourth stage. You are the fourth stage by desulfating that battery. If you are a driver and you're trailering your fifth wheel or your trailer to places around the country, you're technically desulfating your battery every time you travel through the road, the vibration. That battery acid is splashing on those plates, clearing them off, and therefore desulfating your battery. You still do battery maintenance, you still check water levels, make sure your converter's putting out the proper voltage. But the fourth stage, it works for Progressive because when you look at something like, oh, there's this 3-stage, this one's 4-stage, I'm gonna go with 4 stages. But that 4 stage is kind of just a sales gimmick and smoke and mirrors to make people feel good about something that isn't really true, and it's honestly giving people the power to force something in with higher voltage that can potentially damage batteries, not necessarily be beneficial to those batteries. So that's the difference between us and Progressive. So they have Charge Wizard. Our fans are load based, theirs are heat based. And again, I think load based is a little bit smarter because you keep the components cool inside the converter before they heat up and make that fan start up. So I think a component that's cooler more often, not the rapid up and down of temperature through a heat based fan, is going to have a little bit more longevity. I don't have numbers that prove that, but in my simple mind, that sounds like it's a little bit better.
Would it be fair to say our fans can run more than their fan? Like that?
It will, yeah, absolutely. And sometimes where we come into problems is where the OEM installs it. They sometimes put the converter underneath the foot of the bed. So in the middle of the night, people are like, what the hell? And the fan's running all night, and that's when people are gonna complain, oh, my fan's running all the time, and that's where it's gonna come to, is your battery okay? Is you have some other type of loads on. But OEM location of where they're putting the converter can affect on who complains or not. As far as any other differences between us and our competitors is, like I said, me and my guys are out on the fields every day, talking to our customers, training our customers. You don't have any of that when it comes to PD or Magnatech or any of our competitors. They don't have, if they walked into a Forest River, they'd be like, who the hell is this guy? Our guys know us by name. They see us every day almost, like between us and our sales guys. They have a very good relationship, and we're getting better relationships with our dealers, not only through training with Forest River, but any of the OEMs that invite us to do training with them. And I know they're trying to get me out to see more dealers as well. So I mean, we're trying to touch base and give people product knowledge because it's easier to explain potential issues or misconceptions through knowledge.
You know, I think our biggest problem, but not a problem, but maybe an opportunity, is I think we see it all the time, that the techs may not be the issue here if they're replacing or have a problem, because they call you guys and you tell them what to look for. I think all of us has been in a dealership where a customer's actually replacing his converter. And the parts manager goes, yeah, I'll send this one in for warranty, but you know, here's a new one, and I'll deal with this. And they're not saying, well, have you looked for this, have you looked for that?
And that's where sometimes us in a dealership gets into a little feud because they replace this customer's converter, even though that converter's good. They're gonna try to warranty it to us, and
Right.
they send it to us, and we're like, dude, it's good, it's coming back to you. So they get stuck with that. And so sometimes what they do, and this brings up a point I can talk about, is they'll try to send something they've had on their floor for 2 years because they wanna get rid of some old shit. They wanna get some money for it.
At these days, we had warranty writing parties.
The nice thing about all of our products,
All the old shit we with these dead motors.
every single one of our products has two identifying serial number stickers on it. One is on the case itself. One is free floating that the OEM can take off, and they put this in their paperwork. So when they do a build sheet, they have record of what they put in, and it's also on here. And there's one inside on the heat sink. So you got one internally on the case and one for the OEM to put in their paperwork. And what this sticker tells me, it starts out AC04. Almost all of our stickers start with that AC04. That's just general startup. The two numbers directly after that say 18, so that tells me this is a 2018 converter. The two numbers directly after that are the month it was made. So I can find out what month this converter was made and what year it was made. So if a dealer sends me something that says AC0404, I'm like, dude, that's a 2004 converter. We have a 2-year warranty from the date of purchase. So I mean, I've had somewhere, we're in 2019 now, I've had somewhere, it's a 2016 converter because that trailer may have sat on a lot somewhere for a year or two. It's from the original owner's date of purchase, so just because it's a 2-year-old trailer, if it's brand new and they buy it, that's still a valid warranty and we'll have it through their sales report. But we could just go off of these serial numbers and they try to turn something in from 06, we're like, there was no one installing a 2006 converter in a 2017 coach. So you're just trying to get rid of some old stuff. So we could kind of knock that just by proof and facts through these serial numbers.
Are the serial numbers on the retail packaging at all?
On the packaging itself, I don't believe so. It would be exactly how I had on here. So one loose, one on the converter, one on the converter, one inside. So even if we have people that think they're smart and they'll scratch off that sticker, and then when we get here and test it, we open it up and right there on the heatsink there's another one.
Right.
So,
I mean, that's good for us if we go to a dealership.
I feel like I'm, yeah,
Sorry.
sure.
Just did some minor investigation before we came here. Pretty substantial, large dealer utilizes parallax. So when Windsor comes in, it's the fact that they upsell them to the parallax under it being a better, nicer product, longer lasting product. Is there any validity to that statement whatsoever?
Someone has a good relationship.
I mean, because I have a hard time understanding that with no OE presence whatsoever, is what you're telling us.
They have a good relationship with Parallax. I know Parallax is a little bit butthurt because their last and remaining OEM that they did have was Airstream as a whole. Airstream as a whole company was using Parallax.
Okay?
We swooped in and took everything, converters, inverters, transfer switch. We are 100% Airstream.
Okay, so,
So we took their last OEM and I know they're not too happy about
so
it.
they're filling, those particular dealers, it's not just one, unfortunately.
No, it's a lot of.
They're using that, and you can see it like in the MTP Stag catalog where the positioning of the parallax is in comparison. We're number one, but then the next section comes into the parallax for as far as the aftermarket product. I mean, I guess, is that just all fluff?
I mean, they do a lot of smoke and mirrors. I mean, on their packaging it says assembled in America, so they got like a picture of the flag, and people don't realize North America is also including Mexico and Canada. So you are able to use words to made in America. So I mean, they're not made in America, assembled. I think they use assembled, not made. But if you also look at, you look in the aftermarket, like on pricing, they're probably 4 times higher in pricing than us as well. They're very expensive. They're metal cases, so there's a lot of weight compared to ours. Ours is all ABS plastic, so it's lightweight. Theirs is like sheet steel, and
Your market share is a catch-22. You have 85% market share. So when they come in and they fail, the converter has failed. Not to say it's going to be yours.
oh,
Parallax
that's
doesn't
our
have any of that
our
stuff.
failures.
So when you look
Dealers are
back,
going to see more failures with our converter than anyone else.
you just simply because of the
Simply by numbers.
Yeah.
What is the actual warranty, true warranty percentage number?
100%.
What?
Under 1%. And that's something we. 100% of converters will fail at some point. But no, that's something that.
That's a big number, I mean, that's an important number.
I've been here for 6 years, and that's been something they've touted all along. Like, it's something I'd never believed, but now I run numbers. I do a lot of warranty reports. I do a lot of production reports, and I mean, I've done the numbers myself, and it literally was like 0.86 or 0.9% overall. And that's including aftermarket and OEM. So I mean, that's not just one subgroup, it is as a total in all of our converters. So just the number that's going out there is so high that dealers are gonna see it, and that's why when people say, oh, I read a really bad blog on the internet about your converters and they're a piece of shit, so on and so forth, I was like, well, I have a Chevy Silverado, I guarantee if I go onto a forum, people are like, oh, tire rods are weak and you suck and Chevys are the worst. I've never once had an issue with my truck, so it's really depending on how it's used and who's the writer. I mean, there's just trolls out there as well sometimes that just like to write bad products because maybe they called and they told me they plugged into the wrong power source, and I said, well, you don't get warranty because he plugged in the bad power source. Well, now he's out on the internet with his vendetta against me, and he's just doing a smear campaign. But you're gonna see more products at the dealers that are replaced of ours than others, just because we have over 85% of the OEMs using them.
I'm sorry, I'll take that off, but yeah, Chevy too, so.
Anybody else?
The B and B guy.
You didn't realize?
Denver.
I don't know if my truck has flat tires when I go outside, I'm letting it.
Now, you just said
Over 85%.
And does that continue to grow like what you said, Airstream? I mean, is that?
Oh, I mean, me and one of the guys, I think he's hiding back here in his little keyboard, but we just went to a new place yesterday that they're using PD, who's our OEM competitor. They're using PD, and we just quoted them some of our new products. We did load testing, and we're working with them, so we're gaining new business every day. But the thing is, when you have that much business, you always have these little guys popping up, like trying to get business from you. And if they can do it by cost is a big contributing factor. So if someone can do the same thing for cheap, people are gonna hop on board. But between me and my techs that go out in the field, the relationships that we have with the sales group, the biggest thing in the RV industry is who you know. If you have good relationships with the people you work with, you're gonna stay in business. So I mean, we've had times where we've had issues with our products, and they held out and worked with us until we got it fixed and resolved, and we took care of it and never miss it. Some of these other guys, if they have a problem, they're gonna get dropped and never get business back in there. So we have really good relationships, and we do have over 85% of the market.
And that number's still growing, like you said, with the addition of Airstream, it may be a little higher than that now.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, there's a company, if you go down John Weaver, where you guys just came in from, there's these new factories right on the corner of the main road over here. I'm not sure if you guys came in on that road, but there's a couple new factories right there. They're using PD. We're not there yet, but I bet we will. Just because our price is very competitive, and we offer something that others do not. What else you got, Todd?
Nothing. Let me check and see. I know it's a little early. I mean, can you do converters in 20 minutes? Or inverters in 20 minutes?
I do.
The good thing is they are familiar with inverters. They have an inverter line.
Inverters? Oh,
Is that
yeah.
what we're going into? Is it
Yeah,
inverters?
no, in theory, yeah, we're done with converters unless anyone has anything on converters they have a question of. But I can breeze through the inverter. It's up to you.
Let's go ahead and do that then. I think everything's here. Let them get everything set up. We'll stay on track at 11:30.
Alright. We are now going to talk about our inverters. Everyone knows what an inverter is since you guys already work with them. So you take a 12 volt, turn it to house power. This is our bread and butter inverter. This is our 5110R. This is, I think, the third or fourth rendition of this same inverter. The same inverter used to be a 5110H, and 5110 stands for 110, but this is a 1,000-watt inverter. So this is what we have a lot of market with this inverter as well. But the 5110R has a black face, and it's 1,000 watts. We had the same inverter in a red face that used to be an H. That was our first model, 5110H. Then it went to a 5110HP. It's technically the same thing as it is now, with a few minor changes. Now we have this resettable breaker on the back of the inverter instead of a little twist-in fuse that was extremely expensive for the customers to find and replace. So we went to something that they don't have to buy. It has a resettable breaker. The other difference that separates this from a lot of our competitors is with the 5110R, the black face, it means it's reverse polarity protected. So our old ones used to be reverse polarity protected, but internally. But when you hooked it on backwards, the protection actually blew the fuses that are not replaceable. So I'm not sure where the protection came in, because once those fuses blew, this was a big paperweight, and this is not cheap. But the 5110R with the reverse polarity protection, you can hook this up backwards and hold it backwards for an unknown amount of time. And once you correct the polarity, put positive on positive, negative on negative, this will fire right back up and act like that never happened. Most
Just
of it
automatically?
does it automatically, as soon as you correct the polarity. Only one of our, oh, there's two of them now. Two of our competitors have the same feature. It's kind of a new feature that no one else had. So Xantrex, who you guys are probably familiar with, they have reverse polarity protection. And now Progressive Dynamics with their 1000-watt inverter have reverse polarity protection. Our 5110, like I said, is 1000 watts. It has an internal transfer switch, so you don't need a second module to go from shore power to inverting. It just does it internally. And what else about this? I'm trying to think of things that may separate us from those other guys. Oh, the power cord right here. Ours has this power cord, and most of the other ones out there on the market are hardwired. This makes it easy to replace if you have to replace it. And this makes it more versatile on the aftermarket side, just because you can put this in your ice house. This can go in the cabin. This can go pretty much anywhere if you have a plug. Hardwire, you're gonna have to run wires and find somewhere to run those wires. This can just plug in the outlet. It has a 15-amp cord, so it plugs into most normal receptacles.
Remote panel, will it same cable as Xantrex?
This is the remote for the 5110. It runs off of a telephone cord that we provide with it. It's 25 foot long. It's not the same as Xantrex. Xantrex remote is I think it's an added cost of like $30. It's pretty expensive. But all of our inverters come standard with the remote and a 25-foot cable, so this comes with it. The Progressive Dynamics and the Xantrex, that's an add-on. So for them to get the remote, they actually have to pay quite a bit. It's a smarter switch than ours, but it also costs a lot more.
So if you were replacing the Xantrex system, you would have to pull a new cable?
You would. Yep. You don't have to use the remote, but it does make it obviously a lot more handy. On our 5110, like I said, some of the features are you got your pre-wired power cord, and then on the face of the inverter, you have 3 little LED indicators. Those 3 little LED indicators are green, which is for pass-through. So if you're plugged into shore power, you got 120 volt coming in, and it's passing through, it is going to be green. The light right below it is yellow, and that means you're inverting, and that means you're taking your 12 volt battery, turning it into house power, and then you got a red light LED that's below that indicating an error. Like I said, this has the internal transfer switch, so when you plug into shore power, this power cord is going to be plugged in an outlet, get that power, and it's going to pass through what it's being given. This can't produce more voltage than it's being given, it's just going to pass through what you're plugged into. So if you're plugged into 102 volts, 102 volts is going to come out. If you're plugged into 117, 117 is going to come out.
Where's the AC output?
AC output is in a little,
Is this an inverter only or inverter charger?
this is an inverter only. Like I said earlier, we don't have a combo, inverter charger combo. We have both products, but separately. So we have a pretty good market share with the 1000 watt as well with the OEMs. I'm not sure about what percent of the market we have on that, but it's quite a bit. I'm not sure. You guys know when it comes to inverters that closer to the battery is the most effective and all that good stuff. When I talk about this to trainees and stuff like that, they want to say, how long can this inverter last? And I tell them it's like a number you can't really come up with, because it all depends on the battery, length of cable, size of the battery. One thing you can tell with this inverter is it's a 1-to-10 ratio. So for every 1 AC amp, it's gonna pull 10 DC amps out of the battery. So I mean, if someone gets really well with their numbers and knows their amp hour storage, and they start factoring on all these little calculations, it's a 1-to-10 ratio. So 1 AC amp equals 10 DC amps coming out of your battery. The difference between our inverter and other inverters that you're probably gonna get a call about and they're gonna complain about is our fan that is in this inverter. When you have the inverter in on position and it's inverting, the fan's gonna run. It's gonna stay running, it's gonna run the whole time that the unit is actually on. And that's something that I think we're still working on changing, but that is something that is different than our competitors. They don't run when it's on, they run when there's heat, and so the fan runs a lot less. But when it comes to ours is on, is on.
AC breaker, or is it have to go to a sub?
This goes, has a mini breaker on the output side, so this is your output breaker, but this usually runs directly to the reefer itself. This is what Forest River's do, but a lot of times they will also run it to the breaker panel itself, like in the 8955. The reefer's probably on a 15 amp breaker. This is probably ran to that and then to the fridge. The other, on the front LCD screen here next to the LEDs, has a status indicator, and it also tells you what your AC output is of the inverter. So when you're actually inverting, the screen is going to be lit, and it's going to tell you what your AC output voltage is. If you hit this little button that's next to it, it's a little circular button that you probably can't see. It's going to tell you what your DC voltage is, so it's going to tell you what your battery voltage is coming into the inverter. And you hit that button one more time, it's going to tell you what your amp draw is. So if it's wired to the fridge, it's going to tell you how many amps that fridge is drawing from here. So it's good for troubleshooting for customers that don't have a voltmeter or something. You can tell what your AC output is from here, your DC input, and the draw that the load that is on this inverter that is drawing. So this kind of keeps people from having to get tools to work on this on the road.
So do you recommend them put in a sub panel and only pick what?
So that again?
Do you recommend them that they bring in a sub panel so that they pick, you know, what appliances are coming through this?
Not on the 1000, because a 1000 watt you don't have a ton of power per se. I mean, that's 8.3 amps when it comes to AC. So I mean, technically there's microwaves out there that are over 1000 watts. So you're not going to be wiring your whole coach on this. And that's why most of the OEMs like Forest River, Keystone, they're wiring it to your residential reefer and maybe a sub freezer or a mini reefer or a couple GFIs, but they usually just run straight through the distribution panel itself, not like a separate sub panel.
Okay.
Is that digital readout and gives you those or those results, is that unique, or does competition have that too?
They have it too. And they have it on their remote as well. Like I said, their remote's smart, ours is low down. But I mean, it's functional.
You got the same thing in this room.
No, it's functional, it turns it on and off, it does what you need it to do.
Sums a lot of them.
And it comes so I mean, this is provided with every single inverter that goes out, so I mean, it's a convenience thing, so people don't have to go to their underbelly of their coach to turn the inverter on if the power goes out. It just doesn't, it's not super fast.
There's not much of a reason to turn it off.
I tell people to keep them on all the time, because the inverter's not gonna turn itself on if the power goes out, and if you're not there, it's not gonna turn on until you come and push the button, so it's not gonna hurt anything by just leaving it on, because it's only passing through what you're giving it. So I tell people to keep them on all the time. But I mean, that's a pretty good seller on the aftermarket side too as well, I think. But I know it's a little pricier than So I think you guys are gonna have to fight with pricing when it comes to that, when it comes to our competition. Next in our inverter lineup is our 1800 watt and our 2000 watt inverter. So this is same thing, to turn in house power. We got an 1800 and a 2000 watt inverter. This is a little dumber than the 5110. The 5110 has the LCD screen where you can see your voltages and amperage and all of that stuff. 5118 and 20, they have a light bar indicator, kind of like the light bar indicators in a coach that tell you if your water tank is full or if your battery's full. It's just an LED. This many bars tells you how much is in here. This is also hardwired, not a plug-in cord, and it's also a 1:10 ratio. So it's technically the same thing, bigger, more power, and a little dumber. And dumber, I just mean like the LCD screen. Forest River swears by our LCD screen because it is a very helpful tool to know what's going out, what's coming in, and what you're using. And the 5118 and 20 just don't provide that. It just provides more power to cover a little more things in the coach. This device.
What's that?
And again, I think that's a little on the higher price end when it comes to some of our competitors for the same size. So 5110 is a way bigger seller than the 18 and 2000 was.
Okay. Rich?
Can I break in for a minute?
Yeah, we're done.
I want you guys to meet three very important people here. They'll tell you they're very important. Christy Kearney is our office manager and takes care of all the warranty. So you got to know her. She's important. Christy, why don't you introduce the other two?
Okay, I don't actually take care of all the warranty because Sarah here, she handles the bulk of the warranty. It usually comes to me if it's an irate customer or something that is questionable. But this is Sarah. She's our warranty administrator. You want to say anything about it?
I know.
Okay.
You see how far off she is, right?
This is Lisa. She does customer service and basically handles the customer orders from start to finish and everything in between. And you have anything that you want to
Nope,
add
that's
to
it. That's what we do.
Okay. Who's ready if you guys are?
Who's ready? Any questions for anybody here?
Yeah, I do. So if we're in a dealership and we've got a problem, and we've got an issue, which one of you do we call?
I would say Chris.
It depends on what the issue is, and I believe I'm gonna go through some of the warranty, procedures tomorrow, is that what we're?
Yeah.
Tomorrow, we're gonna discuss some of the warranty procedures, but more likely the questions will come to me. And my business card is in your folder, so you can have access to me. Okay?
Anything else at all? Okay.
And
Thank
that's
you,
right.
ladies. Appreciate it.
Yep.
All right. Sounds like food's ready. Are you done with where you're at, or?
Yeah.
Stop your question? Okay. Downstairs, guys. Don't you go have any trouble finding you?
I'll lead the way.
David, you guys up to $170 an hour? Oh, yeah. More?
Don't mount anymore. Anybody who's in the order range, I'm telling them they're losing money to go up. Yeah.
I know you've been peeing together. You got friends.
I was brilliant.
You see these guys in that smart remote?
So George, you've had some converter issues. The sawmill ones?
Yeah, no, they haven't
I'm talking about the sawmill jobs and that. George has got
I'm gonna do one.
He's probably loaded up.
That'd be good, definitely. Okay, sounds good. Thank you. Good, good. We saw the top of the transfer switches.
Yeah.
We don't get power gain over 55, 90. Yeah, they have a whole email to go through. Has kitchen and electronics. So we'll talk about some of that and some of the ones that are like 95 to
No, Mark, is that it? Not just you.
One thing you gotta think about, I'm sure is, that's why I always tell people, you don't leave your fish for a long time. It's still a nice shoot, your refrigerator's, gets one.
Yeah, yeah, because,
Oh, no, it's frozen in the bottom. It's not nice. Your freezer shut down and refroze again.
Is it clear? Yeah.
Because that happens so much. They pick your dog for a bird. For 2 days, the battery's dead, the refrigerator won't run, and they got the power up and running, they're all frozen. So I think I throw away that winter. So yeah, there's a lot to it. People don't like it. Every deal around there's
yeah, I was just passing out that sheet.
This can be a lot for us.
So,
I didn't even know this this morning.
So what'd you do with that sack?
I found they're in, I've been asking them that. There's gonna be a time where they have the lunches. This could be there.
Trying to find a physical hard copy of it.
Exactly.
That's the right now. Good. Just to see what happens. Anyhow, this is, everybody information that's his number, name is Shannon. Connor, and Brian.
Brian, yeah? Works for everyone?
cool.
Yeah.
Alright.
Okay.
everything he's got is 2 hours away. He's got, he went down to Talk to Kenny.
Yep.
and,
Because you've got one in your territory. So that's kind of.
Very good.
Maybe later. And what are we doing tonight?
Yeah.
Hey, we don't have to wait. Blinds are closed. There you go.
Yep.
Been there about 20 years. Did you say it's 20 years?
I didn't do that.
Still can't figure that out.
That's what they told me when,
When are we gonna get right to the point here?
I don't. You've heard me hinting around.
Cause I could lob one up there if you wanna take a swing.
You already told them you had flat tires out the parking lot, it knows who it was.
Probably hoping to go through all this and figure out what to do. Because they shouldn't be doing that.
Matt and John told me the other day, you don't know who that is. We have to replace them all the time. No wonder, that's all they think anyway.
That's why I wanted to see what the warranty rate was.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a good number to have in your back pocket.
But that's what I told them, piece of shit. So the warranty, well, I guess not.
Yeah, I'm glad it was explained to us, because we hear that.
Instead of $1.
Oh, I do
Plus the
now,
local
yeah.
second point. You're probably there on time.
Did on the first one, then I thought that's what it was.
Or, because there's assholes who won't cover anything.
We got a lot back, we didn't cover it.
Switch the battery off.
Hustle on the phone.
Just start the battery.
Let's pull it off.
Grab a piece and cut it.
Why is it not 6 feet?
Holy cow.
I'm not too big on college, because like, man, is it all square? Well, I call it food, but she put down the new bathroom.
Oh, yeah.
So I got the bathroom floor down, I got the kitchen. All done in 1 week. So Saturday. In March? Years ago. I don't know. Saturday morning. She picked up Saturday. Oh, yeah. Is that Fargo or wood?
You got the joints for the.
Get your heart out.
It's the third training. Not this year.
I'm feeling it. There is a ton more down here, so don't be bashful if I come back down here and get some more. Everybody's still up.
Bob was telling us, we at the airport with Bob back. You say that when you have one left. See, that's all you got. He said it.
I'm telling you, the food is amazing.
That's what he was saying. It's just out of this world.
All fresh cooked.
And you won't go home hungry.
Am I prepared or what?
Attaboy.
I didn't even know how it went on.
Just thinking ahead there.
At all.
There you go.
Surface Pros, it was a couple of years ago, probably 3 years ago, Costco had one. I want to say they were $8.99, and they said a $200 install. Manufacturers rebate, I think they were $6.99, and they came with a case, obviously the Surface Pro, and they'll have the clickable pen, so it was like, it was more black. Yeah, matter of fact,